Welcome to this Fundamentals of Cybersecurity class. So today's topic, what we are going to discuss is malware and social engineering attacks. So under this topic, the subtopic, what we are going to discuss is malware, completely malware. So what is the definition of malware and what are the different types of malware? That are all the things we are going to discuss in this video. So what are all the objectives we will gain after completing this video demonstration is we can define malware and we can list out what are all the types of malware and we can identify the payloads of malware. So let us begin this class with the definition of malware. So we all know, right, malware is nothing but it's an abbreviation of malicious software. Malicious software. So the first three letter of malicious and the last four letter of software will give you the word malware. So malware is nothing but it is a software that enters into the computer system without user consent. So that is very, very important. Without user consent, if any coding is entering into your PC means then that is called actually malware. So that is a very important point, without user consent or user knowledge. So it refers to a wide variety of damaging and or annoying software. So it will do some annoying activity in your system or it will do some damages to your system. So that is our main objective of the malware. So it will do damaging and it will do annoying activities in your system. So the next slide we will discuss what are all the types of malware. Right, we all know, right, common types of malware is nothing but virus, adware, rootkit, spyware, ransomware, Trojan horse, remote access, worm, keylogger. So everything we are going to discuss in this video. So before entering into the types of malware, we will discuss what is meant by mutating malware. So attacker usually can mask the presence of their malware. So malware, you all know, right? So everything, the malware, what we are defining here, it has been created by a human being. So it is a script, right? It is a piece of code that has been created by a particular hacker or attacker. So an attacker can mask their presence of their malware. So whoever the creator of their malware, they can mask their presence. The presence of the malware by having it as a mutate or change. So once installing that malware in your PC, it may change by itself. So that is called what we are calling here as a mutating. So there are three types of those. The simple thing is why we are discussing here the mutate means, right? So to hide the presence of that malware in a particular PC. So what are all the three types of mutating malware? Oligomorphic malware, polymorphic malware, metamorphic malware. So what does mean by oligomorphic malware? It changes its internal code to one of a set number of predefined mutations whenever it is executed. So whenever it is going to execute, it will change its code. So consider these are all the codes of a particular malware. While executing, right? While executing that malware, it will, after execution, that the code of that particular malware will change. That is called actually oligomorphic malware. So what is polymorphic malware? Completely changes from its original form whenever it is executed. So not only the code, the script which is present in that malware, it is being changing when we have been discussing with the oligomorphic malware. While considering the polymorphic malware, it completely changes its original form. So that is actually polymorphic malware. So what does mean by metamorphic malware? Can actually rewrite its own code and thus appears different each time it is execution. So this is very dangerous actually, right? So every time when it is being executing, right, it changes its own code, the complete appearance of that particular metamorphic malware. So that is actually metamorphic malware. It rewrites its own code. So it has a capability of rewriting its own code. So the changing and rewriting is different, right? So the form of the code may change in case of oligomorphic and polymorphic, but in case of metamorphic malware, it completely rewrites its own code. So it is very difficult to identify that particular malware if it is present in our system. So this is how here it has been discussed. It has been shown like so. The changing of particular code into some other code. So you all know, right, the COVID virus, right? So it will mutate itself. So and hence it is difficult to find, right? So it is different, right? It is a biological virus. So I'm here, relating this COVID virus with the malware, right? So it is actually, rewrite its code, right? So and hence it is difficult to find, the vaccination, right? So the preventive medicine for that particular COVID virus, it is very difficult. So it was very difficult, and now we have been having the vaccination and all. So that is the kind of mutation happening in the computer virus also. Malware traits, right? Malware traits, the features of malware, or we can say like the characteristics of malware, right? So that is actually malware traits. We are going to see some 4 malware traits, 4 characteristics of malware, or 4 features of malware. Definition of the different types of malware are often confusing and may overlap. Yeah, definitely. So when we have been discussing further about the types of malware, it will definitely overlap. The definition and the concept behind that different types of malware will definitely overlap. We will see one by one. One method of classifying various types of malware is using the primary traits. So the primary traits here, what we are going to discuss is very important. How that malware processes is based upon these primary traits. The first trait is, the first feature is circulation. Some malware has a primary trait of spreading rapidly to other systems to impact a large number of users. So the circulation. So the feature of a malware which has its own capability of spreading rapidly to other system. So that is the first thing, first feature of a malware. Second one is infection. It has a primary trait of infect or embed itself into that system. So infecting, based upon the infection, we can categorize the types of malware, right? What kind of infection it is actually doing, what is the what impact it will create after the infection. So based upon these characteristics, we can categorize the malware. And the third and fourth traits are concealment and payload capabilities. So concealment, some malware has its primary trait avoiding detection by concealing its presence from the scanners. So what we have discussed, right, the mutating malware. So similarly, it has its own theory of concealment, right? Maybe a malware, right, it has its own concept of mutating, right? It will rewrite the code every time it is being executing, means it couldn't detect by the signature of an antivirus. So that is actually the concept of concealment, the feature of concealment. And payload capabilities, when the payload capabilities are the primary focus of a malware, the focus is on what nefarious action the malware performs. So payload means, what is the payload? If I am executing a malware in my system, so if it is redirecting to a particular URL, means that is a payload. If it is dropping some other subcategory of malware, means that is actually a payload. If it is creating a folder in your C:, means then that is actually a payload. So what kind of nefarious action that particular malware is performing means, then we can consider this as a malware which is featureized with the payload capabilities. Okay, so these are all the 4 traits. So you please again go through these traits based upon the circulation, right, how it is rapidly spread over the system, and based upon the infection, how impact it will cause after infecting a particular system, and then concealment, right? So how it uses features of concealing itself in a particular system, and then what are all the payloads it is going to drop in a particular system. So based upon this, we can categorize the malware also. Okay, fine. So the first malware category what we are going to discuss is virus, right? So virus, we have been seeing here in this real cyber world, right? Everything is called a virus. But as a technological, as a cyber professional, we can explain that virus is a category of malware, right? Malware is a top category, right? Under this malware, right? So everything is malware. If somebody is intruding into your system with the help of a piece of code, that is a malware, right? So under this malware, one of the important type is virus. So we will see what are all the types of virus first. So the computer virus, malicious computer code that reproduces itself on the same computer. So it reproduces itself. The code it is been replicating. Say for example, there is a file a.exe in your system, right? So if it is reproducing itself, say for example, it is present in the C colon. If it is present in the, if it is after executing this a.exe, if it is present in D colon also, then it is actually called as a reproducing itself on the same computer. So usually a computer virus will reproduce itself on the same computer, and it will do some annoying activity. So we will come later, right? So what are the impact of a virus? We will come later. So program virus that infects an executable program file, right? So it infects executable. Say for example, if you are having some file in C colon and in say for example in Windows folder, you are having a very critical files are there, system files are there. So if it is actually infecting that some file, say for example c.exe is there, right? If it is infecting, if a virus is infecting this c.exe means then it is dangerous actually. So it is not acceptable, right? I mean infecting a particular system file in our system. It will cause some damages to our operating system itself. So it is very important, program virus. Macro virus, you know, right? You can see this macro enabled code in Word and Excel is there, right? So similar kind of macro virus. One of the most common data file virus, as I said earlier, it is a data file virus written in a script known as macro, right? Macro is a series of instructions that can be grouped together as a single command, right? So this is a kind of script that has been infecting the data file. So that is actually macro virus. Here I have given some link where you can explore a lot of types of viruses also, but these are all the basic things. Computer virus, program virus and macro virus are all the basic types of categories when we have been looking into the virus malware, right? So if you want to explore more, you can go through this link also. So another important category of virus is armored virus. Different virus infection methods are there, right? While infecting a particular system, it has its own infection method. So one of the common type is appender infection. Virus append itself to the end of the file. So you know, right? So if a.exe, if it is present in your system, right, it is nothing but a script of code, right? It is a instruction which has been written line by line. So appender infection means a virus append itself at the end of the file. So a.exe it will append at the last. So this is nothing but your code of your virus, and this is nothing but your legitimate file. So it will append itself at the end of the file. It replaces the beginning of a file with a jump instruction pointing towards the virus code. So there is some instruction that will point out the end of the address, right, where the actual virus will be sit on that particular file. So armored viruses that go to great lengths to avoid detection. So if you have been discussing with the armored virus, right, it has its own great length, right? It has its own length of the code. It has a great length of the code. So there is again Swiss cheese infection is there. It encrypts the virus code and then divide the decryption engine into a different pieces and inject these pieces throughout the infected program code. So that is a kind of method of infection, Swiss cheese infection. So it is a famous kind of infection method where it encrypts the virus code. If I am having a script of code which is considered as a virus, it will encrypt this code and then it divide the decryption engine into a different pieces, and I'm splitting this into different pieces and inject these pieces throughout the infected program code. So if I want to infect to a particular c.exe, which is a legitimate file, it will infect this thing into this c.exe code. So this is how the appender infection is happening here, right? So there is a jump instruction which will point out the virus code. right? This is actually a legitimate code. So while executing this particular file, while seeing this jump instruction, it will directly execute the virus code. So this is a kind of appender infection where it will hide themselves by appending its virus code with a legitimate file. And as we discussed, the Swiss cheese infection, right? There will be a jump instruction is there, which will point out the decrypted part 1. And every decrypted part will be lied between the legitimate code, right? So between the legitimate code, so so it will there, right? So here maybe a legitimate code will be there, right? Here it will be a legitimate code will be there, here it will be a legitimate code will be there, but in between this legitimate code, the virus code will also be there as a decrypted form, right? So it will point out. So it is very difficult because it has been encrypted, right? The virus coder, I mean the attacker, the hacker may encrypt this file and split this code and insert this code into the legitimate code. So this is a virus encrypted code, right? So everything being decrypted and splitted over the legitimate file. So it has been pointing out, and finally it will enter into the virus code. So this is called actually Swiss cheese infection. So there is another infection like an appender infection. This is called a split infection, where the virus has split the malicious code itself into several parts. So again, it is a kind of Swiss cheese infection. It will split the malicious code itself into several parts. Has one main body of code. All parts are placed at the random position throughout the program code, right? So it will post it in the random position throughout the program code to make the detection even more difficult. These parts may contain unnecessary garbage code also. Some dumb code will be inserted along with this virus code also. So that it is very difficult to find out that particular file is infected or not, to mask their true purpose. So this is called actually split infections. So similarly to the Swiss cheese infections, there the virus infection part will be encrypted part will be at the end of the code, right? The decrypted part which will show the direction to reach that particular virus, which is appended at the end of the particular program, legitimate program. But here in case of split infections, every part has been splitted and it has been inserted right over the legitimate code, right? So jump instruction, and after jump instruction it will go to the virus code part A, and after that it will go to the B, and it will go to the C, and it will execute via the D. So that is how, and after that it will go to the main body of the virus code. So this is called actually split infection. So what are all the causes? I mean, what are all the actions will be taken after your system is got infected with the virus? When infected program is launched, it activates its malicious payload, right? As I said earlier, whatever may be the payload we can consider after infecting, right? If it is contacting an URL, or if it is dropping a folder file, or if it is dropping another malware file, another executable file, everything is actually a payload. So when infected program is launched, it activates its malicious payload. Maybe it will contact an URL. So I'm saying here as an example. Viruses may display an annoying messages, but usually much more harmful. Usually much more harmful. It is not only displaying annoying messages, right? Say your system is infected like that, it will not only showing an annoying messages, but also it will do some harmful activities also. So examples for the virus actions also. What are all the damages it will cause to your system when a virus is infected? It causes a computer to repeatedly crash, right? It may erase your files, or it will reformat your hard drive. It will turn off your computer security settings. So imagine that, right? If you have been disabled with the firewall, if a virus is infecting your system, it will, if it disable your firewall, means you imagine that, right? Something will enter at the back door of your system. So that is also happening here. So virus also replicates itself by spreading to another file on the same computer also. So this is what we have discussed earlier in the class also. So virus also replicate itself by spreading to another file. It will infect some other file also. That is also a behavior of a virus, so that it can reproduce itself. Okay. So who are all the carriers? So that is also very important. Who are all the carriers of virus? Virus cannot automatically spread to another computer. It can spread within the computer, but it couldn't spread to another computer. That is one of the behavior of a virus. So it will spread within the computer. Within the computer, if I am having a file, say for example x.exe, it will infect another file, say for example a.exe. So it will spread within the system, but it couldn't spread towards another system. So it relies on the user action to spread. Say for example, virus are attached to a files, right? If I am copying that file to some other system with the help of the USB, then it will some system got infected. Right? Virus spread by transferring the infected files, maybe with the help of USB. Virus may have two carriers, file to which it attaches, human, right? So maybe a file or a human to transport it to the other computers. So that is the way it will carry the virus from one system to the another system. So as I said earlier, the previous what we have discussed is virus. Virus is a malware that will spread within the system, right? It will do some activities, malicious activities within the system, right? It will damage your OS itself, right? So it will also cause some annoying messages to your system also. The second malware what we are going to discuss is worm. So it is a malicious program that uses a computer network to replicate. Right, as I said earlier, virus couldn't reproduce itself to some other system. It couldn't transfer itself from a system to some other system. Maybe a carrier will be used to transfer the virus. But in case of worm, right, it will use the computer network. If some 5 systems are connected in a network, it can easily transfer from one system to the another system via this computer network. Sometimes this is being called as, and hence it is being called as a network viruses. Worm designed to enter into a computer through a network and then take advantage of vulnerability in the applications or operating system on a host computer. So it will take an advantage of vulnerability in an application or OS on a host computer. So with the help of that advantage of taking the vulnerability in an application or OS, it will enter into some other computer which is connected within the network. Once the worm exploits the vulnerability on one system, it immediately searches for the another computer on the network that has the same vulnerability. Say for example, if this system is infected with a worm, right, worm malware, if it want to transfer to some other system which is present in the same network, it will search for the vulnerability. Say for example, this OS is not updated here in this system. So based upon this OS not updation, so I can transmit from this system towards this system. So if this vulnerability, so this is vulnerability. If I am not updating an application, if I am not updating an OS, some hole will be open there, some weakness will be open there in this system. Similarly, after infecting this system, the worm will search for the same vulnerability, right, in some other system also which is present in the same network. So this is how the worm will transmitting over the other system via the network. And Trojan. So Trojan, a program that does something other than advertised. So it will do some other activity other than what it has to do. So that is actually Trojan. So say for example, user download a free calendar program. User is searching for a free calendar program in the internet, and while identifying in a particular website, he or she is downloading that free calendar program in their system. After installing that free calendar program, the program scans the system for credit card numbers and password. So this is not the intended activity that particular free calendar program should do, right? So it has to show the day and the date of the particular day. So it should show that it should explore the days and dates, right? So instead of doing that, it will scan the credit card numbers and passwords which is present in the system. This is not the actual activity it should not do, right? It should show the date, right? So that is the intended activity of a free calendar program. But instead of that, it will search for a credit card number. So that is actually Trojan. So Trojan, it is a program that does something other than that has been advised. advertised. So it transmits the information to the attacker through the network. So after stealing that credit card numbers and password, it will transfer that information through the network in the via backdoor. So that is the kind of Trojan what we have discussed. So I have shown so in the previous video, right, so the Troy clip, right, so in that thing, the first Trojan horse that has been created by the Greek army, right, when it has been entered into the Troy city, right, the king of that particular Troy city looks that Trojan horse as a gift from the Greek, but it is not intended to do so far. So it will from that particular Trojan horse, the wooden horse, some of the enemies has been entered into that fort and they have breached that fort, right? So that is actually Trojan horse. Okay, so the program that does something other than it has been advertised. So what is the difference between the virus, worms and the Trojan is? What does it do? What action it will do? It inserts malicious codes into a program or data file. So that is the main objective of the virus. But in case of worm, it exploits the vulnerability in an application or operating system so that it can transfer to the other system. Trojan, it masquerades as performing as a benign action, right? It masquerades, it impersonates performing a benign action, legitimate action, but also does something malicious. It will do, along with the legitimate action, it will do some malicious activities also. So how does it spreads to the other computer? User transfer the infected to other devices. So user is the main responsibility of transferring a virus from one system to the another system. So how the worm will transfer from one system to the another system? Via the network, right? From one computer to the another computer. And Trojan, user transfers. Yeah, definitely user will be the responsible for transferring from Trojan malware from one computer to the another computer. So third category what we have discussed is a Trojan. Second category of malware what we have discussed is worm. The first category what we have discussed is virus. Does it infect a file? Yes, definitely it will infect a file. Worm, it won't infect a file, but it will do some malicious activities. Looking over the vulnerabilities which is present in the systems, and it is being transferring from one system to the another system. Trojan, yeah, definitely it can do, it can infect a file. Does there is need to be user action for it to spread? Definitely yes for a virus, no for worm, and yes for Trojan. So user action is needed for spreading means virus yes, worm no, and Trojan yes. Right, so this is the main differences between the virus, worm and Trojan. Okay, fine. So the next malware, fourth category of a malware is rootkit. Rootkit is a software tool used by an attacker to hide an actions or presence of other types of malicious software. So it is a kind of tool, it is a kind of software tool used by the most of the hacker to hide the actions or presence of the malware. Will hide or remove the traces of login records and log entries. So if I am using a rootkit method to install a malicious software in your system, so it will I will never leave the traces of how I have entered. So login records, log entries, everything I can hide. May alter or replace an operating system files with a modified version specifically designed to ignore the malicious activities. I can replace a system file. Say for example, you are having C Windows in system32 folder, you are having a lot of system files, right? So every file, it will do some legitimate activities. So in case of replacing that particular system files, right, I can hide the operation of the malware. I can hide the login entry of a particular malware. I can do that thing. So I am saying here as an example. Can be difficult to detect a rootkit or clean it from the infected system because I couldn't identify that particular system file is being replaced with a malicious file. So it is definitely it is going to be very difficult to find a particular rootkit malware is installed in a system, or I couldn't clean that malicious rootkit file. So this is how the computer infected with the rootkit. Actual list of files what a user can view is archive, figures, research, rootkit files. But here when it has been displayed to the user, this rootkit file will be disabled. So this is how it will hide within the system, and I couldn't find the folder or I couldn't find the malicious file within the system. So it will hide itself, right, and it will display the user that there is no malicious file is present in your system. So this is how it is being infected with the rootkit. And then spyware. Spyware is a fifth category of a malware, right? It is a software that gather information without user consent, right? So if this spyware malware is present in your system or installed in your system, it gather the information, right, without the user consent, without user knowledge. It will gather some information. Say for example, it will gather the password of your Gmail, or it will gather a password of your PIN number of your credit card. Like that, it will gather the information from your system without user consent. That is actually spying activity what the malware it will do. So spyware is a tracking software that is deployed without adequate notice, consent, and controlled by the users. So this is all the feature of a spyware: without adequate notice, without the consent of the user, and without the control by the user. It has been installed in our system. So background, it will spy what are all the activities what I am doing, right? So these are all the technologies used by the spyware, right? Automatic download software. So automatic download software used to download and install software without the user information, right? What are all the impact, right? May be used to install on unauthorized applications, right? This is automatic downloaded software used to download and install software without user interaction. Passive tracking technologies, right? This is the important technology that has been used by the spyware, used to gather information about the user activities without installing any software. So it is very difficult actually. Passive means it is very difficult. It has been hidden somewhere else. So may collect the private information such as website as a user has visited. So these are all the things it will collect. A spy activity it will do. System modifying software is a technology, another technology used by the software. It modifies or changes the user configuration, such as if you have been using some home page in your browser, it will change. Search page, it will change, and the default media player, it will change. It will do some modifying activities, system modification activities. Change the configuration of the settings that the user did not approve. This is the impact of the third technology used by the spyware. And the fourth technology used by the spyware is a tracking software used to monitor the user behavior or gather the information about the user, sometimes including personally identifiable or other sensitive informations also. So what are all the impacts using this tracking software is may collect the personal information that can be shared widely or stolen, resulting in the fraud or identity theft. So these are all the technologies. So you just go through this thing, right? Automatic download software, passive tracking technologies, a system modifying software, and tracking software. So these are all the technologies used by the software so that it will do some spy in a system, particular system. Keylogger. So this is another category of a malware, right? It is a program that captures the user's keystroke. So you say, for example, if I am opening a Gmail and I am typing my username and password, which means that this is being given as an input to my system via the keyboard, right? If I am monitoring what are all the keystrokes are being typed by me, then it is easy for a hacker to understand what the person is going to do, right? So if this program is installed in your system, this program will capture the user's keystroke. Information later retrieved by the attacker. The hacker, after some time, they will gather the information. They gather the keystroke informations. Attacker searches for useful informations can be either a small hardware device. This keylogger may be a small hardware device or a software program. It may be a piece of software code, or it may be a hardware device also. Keylogger can go beyond the capture keystrokes, can also make the screen captures and turn on the computer's web camera also to record images of the users. So it can not only recording the keystrokes, it will do capturing the screen what we are actually viewing on our system, or it will turn on your computer web camera and record the images of the users also. So this is a kind of hardware keylogger. So this portion is actually the hardware keylogger, right? Say for example, this USB is used for my keyboard in my PC, right? So, and if an intruder is inserting this hardware keylogger in between this keyboard USB and the plug point of my PC, then what are all the keystrokes I am typing, right? It will be logged in this particular hardware, right? So after some time, I mean after the absence of the user, actual user of that particular system, absence of the actual user of the particular system, I can remove this hardware keylogger and I can use it in my system to view what are all the keystrokes the particular user has been used. So this is a hardware keylogger. Backdoor, it is a software code that circumvent normal security to give a program access, right? It will deviate the normal security to give a program access. A common practice by the developers, backdoor Trojan, right? It is a malware that has been used by most of the hackers, right? Intent is to remove the backdoor in final applications, but often overlooked, right? So even though if I am installing this backdoor Trojan as a hacker, if I am installing this backdoor Trojan in my system, it will automatically gather the information from my systems and it will transfer via to the hacker, right, to know about the particular user. So adware is a program that delivers advertising. This you may come across this kind of adware. That content, the advertising content is manner unexpected and unwanted by the user. So this is the unwanted advertising which is happening in your system. This you have been awareing, like, so it is mostly present in some of your system. So downsides of the adware of users may display objectionable content, right? So unavoidable content, ignoring content will be shown to you, right? So objectionable content will be displayed to you. Frequent pop-ups cause the lost productivity. So say for example, some pop-ups will be coming to my systems. The work what actually I have to do will be disrupted. So that is the main task of this adware malware. So pop-ups, ads may slow down your computer or may cause crashes of your system also. Unwanted ads can be a nuisance. Definitely it will be a nuisance. So typically displays advertising banners and pop-ups ads can also performing tracking of online activities also. So with the help of this pop-ups, they can also track the online activities. So this is another example for adware. There is an error in your system, you want to scan or you want to download. This is a kind of adware. Ransomware, it is a kind of category under adware. It is a program that prevents a user device from properly operating until the fee is paid, until a fee of ransom is paid. So ransomware is a malware that is highly profitable. This is actually, you can see, right, WannaCry, that is a most important malware that costs billions of that gains billions of rupees, right, billions of dollars from the users. So the hackers, with the help of WannaCry ransomware, they can gain billions of dollars from the users. So it will pop up a message like this, and if you want to, it will encrypt all the files in your system, and you want to decrypt that particular file, you have to pay some amounts. This is the message it will show after this ransomware installed in your system. So variation of ransom displays a fictitious warning that there is a problem with your computer. No matter what condition of the computer, the ransomware always report that there is a problem in your system. So there is a problem in your systems. You want to remove that problem, or you want to get away from that problem, you have to pay this amount of ransom amount to me, so that you can continue working with your system without any disturbances. So this is the message. Continuously it will show ransomware. So otherwise it will also encrypt your every files in your systems, and if you want to decrypt your file, then you have to pay some ransom amount, and then I will give you the hacker will give you the key for decryption, and after the key you can encrypt and you can use your system normally. So these are all the ransomware messages, right? Your computer has been locked. So it shows a message that it has been come from a Department of Justice, and it shows that like your IP was used to visit a website containing pornography, child pornography, zoophilia, and child abuse, and hence I am locking your computer. Like that, I can create a malware, ransomware malware, and some persons may be afraid of this kind of messages and they will pay the ransom fee. Right? It is a profitable malware. Currently, they have been, present day, they have been using a lot of ransomware malware. A hacker using ransomware malware to get a profit amount of money. So this is on another kind of ransomware message. So it shows a fake news, like your system is being infected like this. To remove, if you want to remove this infected files in your system, you have to pay some amount. So this is also a another kind of ransomware message. Logical bomb, computer code that lies dormant until triggered by a specific logic events and then performs malicious activities. So it will lie in your PC, and when a time comes up, it will explode. It's a kind of malware, right? So difficult to detect before it is triggered. Logical bombs are often embedded in very large computer programs. So if you're having a very lengthy programs in your systems, it is being embedded line or by one or two lines, right? So once the time comes, it will explode. Trusted employee can easily insert a few lines of a computer code into a long program without anyone detecting it. So the main source of this logical bomb is trusted employee, or what we can call it as an insider, right? Insider attacker. So this is called an insider attacker. So within the organization or within the institution itself, if a trusted employee is doing this activity, then we can call that trusted employee as an insider attacker. So he will easily insert a few lines of computer code in a long program, and when a time comes up, it will explode. So famous logical bomb, right? A logical bomb was planted in a financial service computer network that caused 1,000 computers to delete a critical data. So reason, you see the reason, right? Reason for the attack: a disgruntled employee had counted on this cause and the company's stock price to drop. He planned to use that event to earn money. The logical bomb, what is the result here? Denoted, but the employee was caught and sentenced to 8-year prison and ordered to pay 3.1 million in restitution. Another famous logical bomb is at a defense contractor was designated to delete the important rocket project data. Right? So a person, an enemy hired an insider, right, to delete the rocket project data. The employee's plan was to be hired as a highly paid consultant to fix the problem. The employee's plan was to that employee has to be hired as a highly paid consultant to fix the problem. The logical bomb was discovered and disabled before it triggered and fined this much amount of money. And then another incident is logical bomb at a health service firm was said to go off on the employee's birthday. So every data was said to go off on the employee's birthday. I mean, this employee may be an insider attacker. The employee was angered, as I said earlier, he is the insider attacker, was angered that he might be laid off, right? So because of laying off, he got anger and he installed this logical bomb. The employee was sentenced to 30 months in a federal prison and this much amount of money has been fined. So this is all the famous logical bombs. And zombies and botnets. Zombie is nothing but an infected robot, right? Infected robot or a computer. Botnet is nothing but multiple zombie. If my system is infected means, right, it is instructed to do some activity means my system is a zombie. Multiple zombie computers gathered into a logical computer network, then that is called botnet. A collection of zombie is called a botnet. Collection of zombie. Zombie, you please listen, like zombie is an infected robot. So what is mean by infected robot means, what is mean by robot? If I am instructing that robot, it has to do something. So infected robot means my system is an infected robot. If some hacker is instructed to my system to do some malicious activity means, then myself is a zombie. right? So you may see, right, lot of zombie films are there. If I'm infected, if I'm biting something, biting some other person, he is also turning into zombie. Similarly, if my system is infected, if the hacker is I instructed my system to do some malicious activity, means then my system will do. That is actually zombie. Collection of zombie is nothing but your botnet, right? Bot header, attacker who controls the botnet. So T is missing here. So bot header, attackers who controls the botnet. Command and control. What is mean by command and control? CNC or C2. Instruction from the bot headers regarding which computer to attack and how. So bot header will instruct the botnet to attack a particular system, means then that is called actually command and control. It is an instruction from the bot header regarding which computer to attack and how the attack is going to perform. The CNC mechanism used today is HTTP protocol, right? That is the most important CNC mechanisms used nowadays to attack, instruct the botnet to attack a particular system. So these are all called botnet. A single system is called a zombie. Collection of zombie is called botnet. With the help of a server, CNC server, it will instruct all the botnet, or it will guide all the botnet to attack a particular target system. Okay. So this is called actually zombies and botnets. So uses of botnet, we can do spamming, we can spread malware, we can manipulate online polls. This is a very important thing. Each zombie has a unique internet protocol address. Each vote by a zombie will have a same creditability as a vote cast by a real person, right? So online games can be manipulated in a similar way. So manipulating online polls is a very dangerous thing. Very dangerous things in online playing games. Denying service, denial of service, DOS attack, right? Botnet can flood a web server with thousands of requests and overwhelm, right? Overwhelm it to the point that it cannot respond to the legitimate request. So this is a very important thing. Denying of service, DOS attack can be performed with the help of spamming, right? So sending spam mail is called spamming. Spreading malware, as we have discussed, sending malware to some other systems, it's called spreading malware. Manipulating online games is a newer to you all, right? So online games, so voting concept, right? It can be voted by zombies, by the botnet. And also we can do some denial of service also. So that is also malware we have discussed so far. And types of malware, what we have discussed, right? So far we have discussed virus, we have discussed that virus is spread with user action. Worm spread automatically. Trojan discussed as a legitimate software, but it will do some malicious activity also. Rootkit hides depth within the PC. Spyware, it monitors your activity definitely, right? It will also open your web camera also. It will also record your screen also. Spyware. Blended threat, multiple malware in one attack. So that is actually a blended threat. Remote access, right? Backdoor Trojan, what we have discussed. It controls the PC from a distance. Remote access. Adware maliciously feeds you some ads. It will spam the ads, right? It will spam your system with ads. The exploiting kit, it hunts the software vulnerability, right? So this thing what we have not discussed in the malware category. This is a separate category we will discuss in some other video demonstration elaborately, right? Exploit, it hunts the software vulnerability. So what particular software is having a particular vulnerability, right? It will hunt the weakness of a particular software. So these are all the things we have studied, types of malware. Not only the malware, right? So we also, as a cyber security professional, we also, right, to look into the malware analysis tools also. So we have to learn these tools, so that we can do an analysis of a malware which has been infected in our system. There are a lot of tools are there, right, in this cyber world, so that we can do an analysis in the malware also. So P Studios there, portable executable. P means portable executable studios. Process Hacker is there. Procman is there. Process Monitor is there. ProcDot is there. So Wireshark is there. It is actually a protocol analyzer that has been used for analyzing the network, and based upon that network analyzing, we can also identify what malware is installed in your system. Fiddler is there. Autorun is there, right? So you can identify the service which has been running in your system with the help of this Autorun software, right? Ghidra is there. X64 DBG is there. A reverse engineering tool that has been used for identifying what kind of malware is present in your system. And also you can dissect what are all the code which is present in the malware with the help of this reverse engineering tool. Radar is there, and Cuckoo sandboxing software is there, right? With the help of this malware analysis tool, you can do analysis. So as a cybersecurity professional, you have to study a lot of things about malware, and also you have to do some analysis behind this malware, right? Summary, and we have defined the malware, right? We have listed out the types of malware, and we have identified a lot of payloads of malware, right? So these are all the things I want to discuss under the heading of malware, right? So you can explore with the link, right? A lot of I mean the most dangerous malware that has happened in our past and in the present history. Okay. Thank you all.